He wakes before dawn, the world still shrouded in darkness and silence. The soft glow of the moon seeps through the cracked window of his small room, casting pale light upon the quiet corners where memories linger like ghosts. In this stillness, he finds a fleeting peace, a brief moment to gather himself before the weight of expectations returns to rest upon his shoulders. His mornings are ritualistic, a silent prayer as he washes his face, the splash of cold water, an awakening to the day's demands. The scent of brewing tea fills the air as he tiptoes through the house, careful not to wake his family. He knows that these small moments of solitude are his only chance to steel himself for what lies ahead. He sits at the worn kitchen table, the wood smooth from years of family meals and quiet conversations. His hands, rough and calloused, cradle the chipped cup of tea as he stares into its swirling depths. In that dark liquid, he sees reflections of his life, the dreams that once burned bright, the burdens he carries without complaint, the quiet despair that sometimes threatens to swallow him whole. But he does not let it consume him. He has learned that strength is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the resolve to rise each day despite it. He knows that the world may never understand the battles he fights within himself, nor the courage it takes to keep moving forward. The house stirs around him as the first light of dawn creeps through the curtains. His children's laughter echoes down the narrow hallway, a melody that lifts the corners of his weary heart. He rises, the chair scraping softly against the floor, and sets aside his own turmoil. For them, he must be a beacon, a steady presence in a world that often feels unsteady. He watches as his wife tends to their youngest child, her gentle hands soothing away the night's fears. He sees the unspoken questions in her eyes, the quiet worry that flickers there when she thinks he isn't looking. She doesn't know the depth of his struggles, the nights he spends wrestling with doubt and fear. He doesn't want her to carry that weight. It is his alone to bear. He leaves the house in silence, his footsteps soft against the cold earth. The streets are empty, the world just waking from its slumber. He walks with purpose, each step a testament to his quiet resolve. The morning air is sharp, biting at his skin, but he welcomes the cold. It reminds him that he is alive, that each breath is a gift, no matter how heavy the burden. He reaches the small workshop where he earns his living, the scent of sawdust and sweat a familiar comfort. Here, surrounded by tools and timber, he finds a kind of peace. His hands, rough and sure, know the rhythm of work, the steady beat of the hammer, the quiet whisper of the saw. In this labor, he finds meaning, an unspoken dialogue between himself and the wood, each strike of the blade a prayer for his family's future. His co-workers greet him with nods and quiet murmurs, each man carrying his own unspoken battles. There is a silent camaraderie in their shared purpose, a recognition of the dignity found in honest work. They do not speak of their fears or the judgments they face at home. They simply work, shoulder to shoulder, their spirits bound by the knowledge that their labor sustains not just their families, but their very sense of self. As the hours stretch on, his thoughts drift to the laughter of his children, the warmth of their embraces. He thinks of the nights spent at the kitchen table, counting the coins he has earned, and wondering if it will ever be enough. He thinks of the quiet strength in his wife's eyes, the unspoken prayers she offers each night. These thoughts are his fuel, the fire that keeps him moving forward, even when the world seems determined to break him. He does not speak of his fears. There is no room for weakness in a world that demands so much of him. But in the silence of his heart, he knows that he is more than the sum of his failures. He is a man of faith, a man of purpose. And though the world may never see the battles he fights, he knows that God does. Each day ends as it begins, with a prayer whispered into the darkness, a plea for strength to face another day. He lies down at night knowing that the world may never understand the depth of his love, the weight of his sacrifices, but he does not need their understanding. His hope is not built upon the approval of others, but upon the quiet faith that guides him through each storm. He closes his eyes, the weight of the day pressing into his bones. But even in the darkness, there is light, a small, flickering flame of hope that refuses to be extinguished. For in his heart, he knows that every trial, every burden, every silent struggle is seen by the one who matters most. And in that knowledge, he finds peace. The sun climbs higher in the sky, its light illuminating the cracks in the worn pavement beneath his feet. He walks home with heavy steps, his body aching from a day of labor. The world around him buzzes with life, children's laughter and neighbors' chatter filling the air. Yet within him there is a quiet ache, a silent burden that no one else sees. His family greets him with smiles, the warmth of their love washing over the cold fatigue that clings to his bones. He returns their smiles, his eyes crinkling with the weight of unspoken truths. They do not know the depth of his exhaustion, the toll each day takes upon his spirit. He does not want them to know. His silence is an act of love, a shield against the harshness of the world beyond their door. His wife sets a simple meal upon the table, the aroma of warm bread and lentil stew, a comfort in the gathering dusk. He watches her hands move with practiced grace, each gesture an expression of care and devotion. Their children chatter around the table, their laughter filling the small space with light. In these moments, he finds solace, a fleeting respite from the endless demands of life. As he eats, he listens to the stories his children share, their dreams bright and unburdened. They speak of what they want to be, doctors, teachers, artists. Their words are a symphony of possibility, a melody that lifts his heart even as it tugs at his soul. For each dream they share, he silently promises to move mountains, to carve paths where none exist. They will never know how hard he will fight for them. When the meal is done, he retreats to the small corner of the house that is his own. It is a simple space, a worn chair, a battered table, a flickering lamp. Here, he sits in the quiet, his mind a tangle of worries and hopes. He counts the coins in his pocket, the sum of a day's labor. It is never enough, yet he refuses to let despair find a home in his heart. He closes his eyes and lifts his face to the heavens, whispering words only God can hear. In those quiet prayers, he pours out his fears, his doubts, his endless longing to be enough. He does not ask for wealth or power. He asks only for the strength to keep going, for the grace to meet each challenge with dignity and faith. There are days when the weight of his family's expectations feels too heavy to bear. Their love is a light in his life, but it is also a fire that burns, an unspoken demand to provide, to protect, to be more than he sometimes feels he can be. He feels the sting of their disappointment in the small moments, a sigh, a furrowed brow, a question left unasked but heavy in the air. He understands their fears. He knows they want security, comfort, a future free from worry. He wants these things too, but the world is not always kind, and the path he walks is fraught with challenges. Still, he will not falter. His love for them is a shield against the darkness, a force that propels him forward even when he stumbles. His relatives too see only the surface of his life. They measure his worth in material things, in the clothes he wears, the house he lives in, the money he brings home. They do not see the sacrifices made in the quiet hours of the night, the dreams set aside so that others might dream instead. They do not understand that he has chosen a life of quiet service, of small but profound acts of love. Their words sting, but he does not let them take root in his heart. He knows that his worth is not determined by their opinions. He has learned that true strength is not found in the applause of others, but in the silent victories won within. Each day he rises, each burden he bears, is a testament to his unwavering faith and his boundless love. At night, when the world is asleep and the house is quiet, he lies awake, listening to the steady rhythm of his children's breathing. In the darkness, he finds a strange peace, a sense that despite the struggles, despite the doubts, he is exactly where he needs to be. His faith whispers to him that there is purpose in his pain, that every tear, every sacrifice is seen and honored by the one who knows his heart. He does not seek sympathy. He does not want pity. All he wants is the strength to keep going, to keep loving, to keep believing in the quiet miracle of his own resilience. And so he closes his eyes, his final prayer a simple plea, for strength, for grace, for the courage to face another day with hope and humility. As dawn breaks again, he stands at the threshold of his home, the morning light painting his face in hues of hope and fatigue. Each step away from the warmth of his family is a step into the world's indifferent embrace. But he walks forward, shoulders squared, carrying within him a faith that cannot be seen but is deeply felt. The city awakens around him, an orchestra of noise and motion, life unfolding in 1,000 different directions. He walks through crowded streets, past vendors shouting their wares, past hurried faces and hollow laughter. In this chaos, he is both invisible and essential. A man whose quiet strength goes unnoticed by most, but is the very foundation upon which his family's world is built. His job is humble but honest, hands shaping wood, labor weaving life's necessities into the framework of their home. The saw's rhythm echoes his heartbeat, a steady reminder of the work that sustains them all. The scent of fresh-cut timber fills the air, grounding him in the present, anchoring him in the knowledge that every board he cuts is a testament to his devotion. But today, like so many days before, the world's harshness finds him. A co-worker's careless words, the jeering comparisons that echo the doubts already lodged in his mind. You work too hard for too little, they say. Your life is small, your dreams are too plain. They do not see the love in the lines of his hands, the quiet purpose that burns in his heart. He does not answer their taunts. He has no need to defend the life he has chosen, for he knows that wealth is not measured in coins, and success is not defined by applause. His riches are in the laughter of his children, in the warmth of his wife's embrace, in the peace that comes from knowing he walks a path of integrity and faith. At times, their words find their way into the cracks of his resolve, seeping like cold water into his bones. Doubt is a persistent whisper, a shadow that looms when the day's weight grows too heavy. But in those moments, he closes his eyes and turns inward, reaching for the quiet flame that never goes out. He prays in the silence of his soul. His faith is not loud or ostentatious. It does not demand to be seen. It is a soft murmur, a breath of hope in the stillness. He knows that God sees what others cannot, the struggles hidden behind his quiet smile, the silent tears he does not shed. In that knowing, he finds the courage to keep going. When the workday ends and he returns home, the sun sinking low in the sky, he carries with him the dust of labor and the quiet glow of purpose. His children run to him, arms open, laughter ringing like bells in the evening air. In their embrace, he feels the weight of the day lift, replaced by a love that no words can diminish. His wife greets him with a smile that speaks volumes, a silent understanding, a shared strength. She does not ask about the harsh words of others or the silent battles he fights. She knows the shape of his heart, the depth of his devotion. In her eyes, he sees the reflection of his own resilience, and it fills him with quiet pride. As night falls, he stands beneath the stars, the sky vast and endless above him. He lifts his face to the heavens, feeling the cool breeze against his skin. In the stillness, he finds solace, a reminder that he is part of something larger, something eternal. He speaks no words, but his heart is loud with gratitude and hope. He knows that tomorrow will bring its own challenges, its own tests of faith, but he also knows that he will meet them with the same quiet strength, the same unwavering love. For in the shadows of doubt and hardship, he has found a light that guides him, a faith that does not falter, a hope that cannot be taken. And in that faith, he knows he is never truly alone. In the quiet hours of dawn, he awakens to the faint sounds of the city stirring, roosters crowing, distant footsteps echoing along empty streets. He rises slowly, his body weary from the day before, but his mind already braced for the demands of the day ahead. There is no time to linger in dreams or regrets. His family depends on him, and that knowledge is the compass that guides him through each moment. The kitchen is cool and dim, the air heavy with the scent of last night's meal. He moves with purpose, brewing tea and preparing a small breakfast for his children. His wife stirs in the next room, their silent morning routine a testament to years of quiet understanding. They speak in glances and gestures, words unnecessary between two souls who have weathered every storm side by side. As he watches the sun's rays push away the lingering shadows of night, he feels a familiar ache in his chest, an ache that comes from carrying the weight of unspoken fears. The world outside demands so much, and he often wonders if he has enough within him to meet those demands. But then he hears the soft laughter of his children and the gentle clinking of dishes as his wife prepares their day, and he knows he must. He steps outside, the morning chill brushing against his skin, each breath a cloud in the frosty air. He walks to work with steady steps, each one a silent promise to his family that he will keep going, no matter how heavy the burden becomes. The streets are busy now, the world waking in earnest, but he moves through it all with a calm determination. At the workshop, he greets his co-workers with nods of respect. They are men like him, each carrying their own silent battles. There is an unspoken bond between them, an understanding that in this life, strength is found not in boasting, but in showing up, day after day, no matter the weight you carry. The hours stretch on, the sun climbing higher and hotter in the sky. Sweat beads on his forehead, sawdust clings to his clothes, but he welcomes the work. There is comfort in the rhythm of his hands, in the tangible progress of each task completed. In the simple act of creating, he finds a small victory, proof that even in a world that often seems indifferent, he can shape something with his own hands. Yet even as he works, his mind wanders. He thinks of the unspoken expectations that press down upon him, the judgments of relatives who see only what they want to see. They do not understand the choices he has made, the sacrifices that come with them. They measure a man's worth in coins and possessions, but he knows better. He has learned that real wealth is in the laughter of his children, in the quiet moments of peace that come at the end of each day. When the sun begins to set, he wipes the sweat from his brow and turns for home. The walk back is a time of reflection, a chance to sift through the day's doubts and fears, to lay them aside so he can greet his family with an open heart. He thinks of his children's faces, bright with dreams and possibilities, and he knows that every step, every sacrifice is worth it. At home, the evening is alive with warmth and noise. His children rush to greet him, their joy a balm for his weary soul. His wife's smile meets his tired eyes, and in that simple exchange, he finds the strength to keep going. The meal they share is simple, but it is enough. A feast of love and laughter that fills the small kitchen with light. After the children have gone to bed, he sits with his wife in the quiet of their home. They talk in soft voices, sharing the small victories and the lingering worries of the day. She listens with a quiet grace, her hand resting lightly on his. In her touch, he feels the echo of all they have built together, a life not defined by riches but by resilience and faith. When he lies down to sleep, he closes his eyes with a prayer on his lips. He asks not for wealth or ease, but for the strength to keep going, for the courage to face each day with an open heart and a steady spirit. He knows that tomorrow will bring its own trials, its own demands, but he also knows that he will meet them with the same quiet strength he has always carried. For in the end, it is not the world's judgments that define him, but the quiet knowledge that he has done all he can for those he loves. And in that knowing, he finds peace, a peace that no hardship can take away. The night is quiet and deep, the world hushed beneath a canopy of stars. He sits in the small patch of earth behind his home, the cool breeze carrying with it the scent of earth and distant rain. It is here, in this stillness, that he finds the space to breathe, to release the weight of the day, and gather strength for what lies ahead. He lifts his face to the sky, the endless expanse above a reminder that there is more to life than the grind of each day. In the shimmering constellations, he sees stories written in light, tales of endurance and hope that mirror the quiet struggle of his own soul. He does not need riches or titles to know his worth. The heavens themselves whisper to him that there is purpose in every breath he takes. His mind drifts back to the faces of his children, their laughter a balm against the harshness of the world. They are the reason he rises each day, the reason he bears each burden with a quiet grace. He knows that in their eyes, he is not just a father or a provider. He is a protector, a source of unwavering love that will never falter. There have been days, dark days, when he has felt the weight of the world pressing down upon him, when doubt has threatened to drown out the small flame of hope that burns within. He has faced moments when the walls of his world seemed to close in, when the judgments of others felt like stones cast against his spirit. But through it all, he has never surrendered his faith, for he knows that faith is not just a word, but a lifeline, a promise that even in the darkest nights, there is light enough to guide him forward. He has learned to trust in the quiet voice that speaks within him, the voice that tells him he is enough, that his love and sacrifice are seen and cherished by the one who created him. In the small victories of each day, the warm meal shared, the laughter of his children, the soft glow of his wife's smile, he finds the proof that his life is not in vain. These moments, humble and fleeting, are the true measure of his wealth. They are the treasures he carries in his heart, the legacy he will leave behind for those who come after. He does not seek validation from the world beyond his doorstep. He knows that many will never see the quiet heroism of his days, the silent battles he wages against doubt and fear. But that does not matter. His strength is not for show. It is for the ones he loves, the ones who trust in the quiet fortress of his heart. There are nights when he allows himself to dream, dreams not of riches or luxury, but of a future where his children walk paths free of the struggles he has faced. He dreams of them standing tall, heads held high, their hearts unburdened by the weight of the world's expectations. In these dreams, he sees his purpose made manifest, his love stretching across time to shelter them even when he is gone. He rises from his seat, the chill of the night a gentle reminder that dawn will come again. He steps back into the small warmth of his home, the glow of the hearth a beacon against the darkness. His wife stirs in her sleep, their children breathing softly in the next room. In this simple tableau of love and faith, he finds the courage to keep moving forward. He knows that tomorrow will bring new challenges, new voices of doubt, new tests of faith. But he also knows that he will meet them as he always has, with quiet strength, with a heart that refuses to be broken, and with a soul that trusts in the boundless grace of God. For in the end, his life is not measured by the world's fleeting standards, but by the light he carries within, the light of faith, of love, of hope that cannot be extinguished. And as he lays down to rest, he whispers a final prayer of gratitude, knowing that in the quiet of his heart, he has already found what he was searching for all along. Morning breaks once more, and he stands in the doorway of his home, the weight of yesterday's battles still clinging to his shoulders. The sun's light spills across the worn path he walks each day, illuminating the simple world he has built. A world crafted from small moments of grace and the quiet power of his love. He looks back at the small house that shelters his family, the laughter and warmth that live within its walls. It is not grand, but it is a fortress of memories. Each stone laid with care, each crack a testament to the trials they have survived together. Here, in the hush before the day begins, he finds the courage to keep moving. He knows the cost of his choices, the hours spent away from his children's laughter, the quiet dinners where his mind is far away, wrestling with worries that he cannot share. He knows the silent sacrifices that shape each day, the pieces of himself he gives to ensure that his family's dreams are never beyond their reach. But he does not waver. His faith in God is the wellspring from which he draws his strength, a quiet river that flows through the chambers of his soul. He does not seek to be seen or praised. He only seeks to honor the promise he has made, to protect, to provide, to love without measure. There are moments when the world feels heavy on his shoulders, when the weight of expectation and the sting of judgment threaten to bend his back. In those moments, he remembers the soft prayers whispered in the quiet of his heart, the faith that has carried him through every storm. He knows that every hardship is a lesson, every tear a prayer in motion. At work, his hands move with practiced grace, each cut of wood, each stroke of the hammer a silent testament to the dreams he carries. His labor is not just for survival, it is a tribute to the love he holds, the devotion that burns like a steady flame within him. In each piece he shapes, he weaves his soul into something tangible, something that will outlast the trials of this world. Yet there are days when doubt creeps in, a cold shadow that whispers of failure and futility. On those days, he turns his face to the sky, breathing deep of the promise written in the heavens. He remembers that his worth is not measured by the weight of coins, but by the measure of his love, by the quiet strength that no one else may see, but which shapes every step he takes. When he returns home at night, he does so with the quiet dignity of a man who has given his all. His children rush to greet him, their laughter a balm for every ache. His wife's eyes meet his, and in that simple glance, he finds the validation he needs, the proof that his sacrifices have not been in vain. In the quiet of the evening, he sits with them, sharing stories and soft laughter. He listens to the dreams of his children, each one a fragile spark of hope that he guards with the fierceness of a warrior. He teaches them not with grand speeches, but with the example of his life, a life of quiet faith and unwavering devotion. And as the stars emerge once more, he knows that tomorrow will bring new challenges, new tests of his faith. But he also knows that he is ready, for in the echo of every sacrifice he has made, he hears the quiet voice of God, whispering that he is never truly alone. In this quiet assurance, he lays down to rest, knowing that though the world may not see the depth of his devotion, it is written in the hearts of those he loves, and in the eternal faith that carries him ever forward. As the days blur into seasons, he learns that strength is not measured in victories alone, but in the quiet resolve that refuses to bend beneath the weight of endless trials. Each morning, he wakes to the same rhythm, the silent prayer whispered before the dawn, the quiet steps that carry him out into a world that demands everything and offers so little in return. His face is weathered by years of toil, each line a testament to battles fought in silence. But in his eyes, there burns a light that refuses to be snuffed out, a light born not of ambition, but of devotion. His faith in God is the compass that guides him through every storm, a shield against the judgments of a world too quick to dismiss those who walk a humble path. He does not speak of the nights when sleep eludes him, when the weight of unseen burdens presses down like a mountain. He does not share the moments of doubt that creep into his heart like a thief in the dark, stealing away the fragile hope he clings to. These are his to bear alone, and he carries them with the quiet dignity of a man who knows that his strength is not for show, but for those who lean on him in the quiet moments of need. The world around him is loud with voices that measure worth in gold and glory, but he has no use for such things. He knows that true wealth lies in the laughter of his children, the warmth of their small hands reaching for his. It lies in the simple meal shared at the end of a long day, in the soft comfort of his wife's gaze that tells him he is enough, even when he doubts it himself. There are days when the weight of this life feels too much to bear, when the judgments of relatives and the whispered doubts of neighbors cut deeper than any blade. On those days, he finds solace in the quiet of his faith, in the knowledge that God sees what the world overlooks. He knows that his worth is not in the eyes of men, but in the quiet love that holds his family together like the mortar of a fortress. He moves through each day with the measured calm of a warrior, his steps steady, his purpose clear. He does not boast of his sacrifices, does not seek praise for the battles he fights in the quiet of his soul. He simply endures, each act of labor and love a testament to the quiet power of faith. He knows that in this world, it is not the loudest voices that leave the deepest mark, but the steady hearts that refuse to be broken. At night, when the world is hushed and the stars wheel overhead in their silent dance, he finds a quiet peace. In the soft breaths of his children as they sleep, in the gentle rise and fall of his wife's chest as she dreams, he hears the echo of God's promise, that no sacrifice made in love is ever lost, that even in the smallest acts of devotion, there is a power that can change the world. He does not need the world's applause to know his worth. He needs only the quiet certainty of his faith, the knowledge that he is enough just as he is, a man who loves, who serves, who believes even when the world tells him to doubt. In the end, he knows that his legacy is not written in the grand gestures or the fleeting triumphs of this world. It is written in the quiet moments of grace that shape each day, in the steadfast love that anchors his family through every storm. And in that quiet knowing, he finds a strength that no hardship can ever take away. He is the quiet warrior, the steady heart that never stops believing. And in the echo of every sacrifice, in the soft light of every dawn, he finds the courage to rise once more, trusting in the quiet power of his faith and in the boundless love that guides him ever forward. The days stretch out like an endless path beneath his feet, each one a test of faith and resilience. He walks this path with the quiet acceptance of a man who knows that life's greatest burdens often rest on the shoulders of those who love the most. His steps are steady, his heart steadfast, even when the world seems determined to break him. There are mornings when the ache in his bones is a silent chorus of doubt, when the cold bite of the wind feels like a reminder that the world is not kind to those who walk a humble road. But he does not turn away from the path before him. Each footstep is an act of faith, each breath a quiet prayer whispered to the sky. His hands are calloused from years of labor, the marks of a man who has given everything for those he loves. He does not wear his scars as badges of honor, but as quiet reminders of the battles he has faced, battles that have shaped him into the man he is today. His worth is not measured in the softness of his hands or the luxury of his home, but in the strength of his heart and the depth of his devotion. There are moments when he feels the sting of the world's indifference, when the laughter of others seems to mock the quiet sacrifices he makes each day. But he does not falter. He knows that his life is not lived for the applause of the crowd, but for the quiet comfort of his family's smiles, the warmth of their embrace at the end of each long day. He has learned to find solace in the smallest of blessings, in the warm light of dawn as it spills across the kitchen floor, in the laughter of his children as they chase dreams that he has built with his own hands. These moments are the balm for every wound, the quiet proof that his life is more than the sum of its struggles. In the quiet hours of the night, he sits alone with his thoughts, his faith a quiet lantern in the darkness. He does not seek answers to every question, nor does he demand that the world be fair. He has learned that true peace lies not in the absence of hardship, but in the quiet acceptance of life's uncertainties. In the soft echo of his prayers, he finds the courage to keep moving forward, trusting that God sees the depths of his heart even when no one else does. He carries the weight of his family's dreams on his shoulders, each hope and longing a precious burden he will never set down. His wife does not see the quiet battles he fights each day, the silent wars waged in the corners of his mind. His children do not know the nights when sleep is stolen by worry, the quiet tears that fall in the darkness, but he does not need them to see. He carries these burdens gladly, for they are the measure of his love. In the world beyond his door, there are voices that would call him weak for his gentle heart, for the faith that guides his every step. But he knows that true strength is not in the hardness of fists or the loudness of words. True strength is in the quiet refusal to give up, in the soft but unyielding belief that even in the darkest night, there is light enough to find the way. As he lays his head down to rest each night, he whispers a prayer of gratitude for the simple blessings of the day, for the food on the table, the warmth of his children's laughter, the soft glow of his wife's love. He knows that these are the treasures that cannot be stolen by time or circumstance, the quiet riches of a life well lived. And in this quiet knowing, he finds the strength to rise again with each new dawn, to walk once more the path that stretches before him. For though the world may not see the depth of his devotion, he knows that it is written in every breath he takes, every sacrifice he makes, and every quiet prayer that carries him ever forward. There are wounds no blade can cut, scars no time can fully heal. Some battles are fought not on distant fields or shadowy streets, but within the fragile chambers of the heart, where love and pain entwine in a delicate, relentless dance. This is the legacy our man carries, the legacy of love tangled with sacrifice, expectation, and the unspoken burdens of family. He stands at the threshold of his childhood home, the walls echoing with memories both tender and painful. Each creak of the floorboards, each faded photograph, is a reminder of a past that shapes him still. The faces of those he loves and those who have hurt him flicker like ghosts in the dim light. The weight of their expectations presses down on him, heavy and unyielding. Family is supposed to be a sanctuary, a place where one finds refuge. Yet for him, it has often been a battlefield, where love is tested by silence, where care is entangled with judgment. His father's stern gaze, a silent verdict cast over years. His mother's quiet sacrifices masked by weary smiles. Relatives whose words sometimes cut deeper than any enemy's strike. He remembers the countless nights when anger and disappointment filled the air, where conversations turned into clashes, and the warmth of love was overshadowed by misunderstanding. The tightrope between wanting to belong and needing to break free has never been easy to walk. But beneath the pain lies something more profound, a legacy not of bitterness, but of love's enduring power. It is a legacy passed down not just in words, but in the way hands reach out in moments of need, in the silent strength of shared glances, in the fierce protection of family bonds even when frayed. He recalls the stories told by his grandparents, tales of hardship and hope, of love that survived wars and loss. Those stories are threads woven into the fabric of his being, reminders that love is resilience, that family is more than perfection. It is acceptance, forgiveness, and the courage to keep trying. In the quiet solitude of his room, he reflects on his own role in this legacy, the mistakes he has made, the bridges burned, and the bridges still standing. He understands now that love is not always gentle. Sometimes it is hard and demanding, a call to grow beyond pain and fear. The phone call from his sister brings both anxiety and relief. Her voice, trembling with unspoken emotions, breaks through the walls he has built around his heart. They speak of old wounds, of hopes for healing, of a future where love can finally be free from shadows. He realizes that legacy is not a chain that binds, but a light to guide, a chance to rewrite the story, to create new patterns of care and understanding. It is in the small acts, a kind word, a moment of patience, a willingness to listen without judgment. As dawn breaks, he steps outside, feeling the weight of the past, but also the fragile hope of what lies ahead. The legacy of love is complex, often painful, but it is his to carry. And through him, it can become a legacy of healing. Because family is not just where we come from, but what we choose to become. The darkest nights often precede the most radiant dawns. After the storms of anger, betrayal, and heartbreak, there lies a fragile space, a moment suspended in time, where redemption begins to take root. He stands at the crossroads of his life, scarred but unbroken, carrying the weight of his past and the flickering light of hope. The battles within have been fierce, the losses profound. Yet it is here, amidst the ruins of broken dreams and shattered bonds, that the possibility of renewal arises. The faces of those he loves linger in his mind, no longer as shadows of conflict, but as beacons calling him toward healing. His mother's gentle wisdom, his father's quiet strength, his sister's unwavering faith, all form a tapestry of connection that, despite the fractures, remains unyielding. He understands now that redemption is not about erasing mistakes or forgetting pain. It is about embracing imperfection, forgiving both others and himself, and daring to open his heart once more. The conversations that follow are tentative but honest, painful confessions mingling with tentative promises. Walls that once seemed impenetrable begin to crumble, replaced by bridges built from empathy and courage. He reaches out, not as the man burdened by the past, but as the one willing to change, to listen, to love without conditions. The path is uncertain, and the wounds still ache, but the journey toward redemption has begun. Outside, the world awakens to a new day, bathed in the golden light of possibility. The legacy of love, once shadowed by doubt, now shines with the promise of healing and growth. As he steps forward, he carries with him the lessons of yesterday and the hope of tomorrow. The DarkForce team may have faced many battles, but the greatest victory lies in the courage to forgive, to rebuild, and to love again. Because in the end, it is not the darkness that defines us, but the strength we find to walk into the light. The journey we've shared is more than just a story. It's a reflection of all our struggles, within family, within ourselves, and within the shadows we fight every day. We all carry legacies, some of love, some of pain, but it is our choice how we honor them, to heal, to forgive, and to move forward. The DarkForce team's story reminds us that no matter how heavy the burden, there is always hope. That even in the darkest moments, the light of redemption can shine through. Thank you for walking this path with us. If you felt these emotions, you're never alone. Together, we are stronger. Remember, your story matters. Your legacy is yours to write. Stay strong, stay true, and keep fighting the good fight. If you like our concept of content, then like and share. It will motivate me for next level. Thanks to all to watch. Stay safe, stay blessed.